Okay, in this video we are going to construct the header and the footer in our website. We're also going to handle building the menu bar and its subsequent rollovers here inside of GoLive. So, Rob, go ahead and get us started.
Okay, let's get to work.
Finally, we can really build a web page. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Open up your index page.
Just by double-clicking it.
That's right. And I'm going to open it a little bigger here. And I'm going to drag a table into it. You'll find the table under the basic tab.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to drag it onto the canvas here.
And tables are going to be our system for controlling the structure of our page.
Right. It's going to... All of our elements on the page are going to be inside the tables.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to make our basic table. It's going to have a header, a center section, and a footer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need 3 rows and 1 column. So I have 3 rows here, and I'll just make that 1 column.
Wow. And that would be a very small web page.
This would be a teeny tiny web page. So we know that the website page that we made in Photoshop is 748 pixels wide. So I'll just enter that value here. And we know that we're going to be putting a giant background here of our logs. So we need to go ahead and get those images.
All right.
Okay, so let me minimize this. And what we'll do here is we'll go to File, Import, Files to Site.
Okay.
And you'll find that you go look for that image folder. And
let me go ahead and type the path right in.
Yeah.
We seem to have popped into the Mozilla Firefox folder. So that was over in my particular case in the H drive, and then we go over to Zach, and then we had Stones River logging, and I think inside of this we had a web images folder. So
yes. So this folder here, just once you find it, wherever you put it, just select it, open it. Voila, we should have all of our images.
How convenient.
Okay, there they are. This is very handy. And go back to our index page. And I'm going to drop a layout grid into here, because this will give us exact positioning. Now, we can make this any size we want.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go ahead and make this 748 pixels.
Okay, well, that just makes sense.
All right. And the height... we need to figure out the height, so let's switch back to our Photoshop document real quick.
So it'll be actually the height of the image.
It'll be, in this case, it'll be plus the menu, this gold bar here.
Yeah, how fancy.
I'm going to put both of those guys in there. So let me zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll quickly measure using our marquee tool. Snapped. And it tells me it's 258 pixels high.
258.
So that's the value I want, 258. Okay?
There we go.
There we go. Now, we can tell it right away to have a background.
Now, what did you just unclick?
Oh, I unclicked the snap.
Okay.
Now, when you drag elements onto this grid, if you leave the snap on, like if I drag an image.
Oh, you can kind of see them snap to those
it'll
grid
snap
lines.
To those things. So
gotcha.
You'll have things that'll snap to each other, so I'm just going to leave that off.
I see. Okay.
So I'm going to choose an image for background.
Mm-hmm.
Click on my Browse folder.
That's fancy.
Mm-hmm. This is actually probably the wrong folder. We need to go back to the folder in GoLive.
Oh, okay. That's
and
no problem. So we'll go ahead.
We need to go to the site
We stuck it
folder.
over in My Documents, and that was in Logging.
Right.
So there we go.
Right. Okay. So web content. Just so you know, I don't think we've talked about it. GoLive will make all these other folders for you.
Mm-hmm.
One has web content, which has the actual site data, such as the index HTML and your images folder and all those things. Then it keeps a couple other things just for its own tracking of the website, which you really don't have to get into.
Okay.
And so let's go back into web content. We'll go into images, and we are looking for the home. Let's see, home.
And
you see what I'm looking for?
Header, background, JPEG.
Background JPEG. Thank you. Good eye.
Yeah, but they just couldn't see my finger pointing on the screen.
And I'm going to drag an image into here for our gold bar. Because it's not going to be the background. It'll be sitting on top of the background.
I see.
And so I click the Browse button again.
And we
click
find
on gold bar. Yep, click Open.
And at that.
I'll just drag it all the way down, and I'll use the arrow keys to...
You can nudge just like Photoshop.
Just like Photoshop.
Very cool.
So here it is, nice and tight. And I can turn, where it says visible here, I can turn those grids off.
Oh, so look, our page is starting to come to life. Now it's repeating a little bit.
Now it is repeating, so let's figure out what's going on. It when I brought in that gold bar, it bumped, it placed it in the middle, and it bumped over. So all I have to do is resize
Re-enter
that.
our width to 728.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So we're going to bring in some more images for our buttons. Let me scroll over a little bit. Let me go ahead and get the first button, which will be menu contact. We're going to start from the right-hand side and work our way back. Now I need to figure out, it doesn't matter so much because this is all blue sky.
Right, but you kind of need to get it pretty close to where it was.
Right. So let me figure out how high off the top it is.
Right, just a hair under the clouds and a little bit higher above the log.
So it should be 75 pixels down from the top.
Look at you with the exact measuring.
And 28 pixels, so 75 and 28.
Wow.
Now, there's no way for me to move it 28 over, but I can type in 78 up here.
Okay.
Oops, that was the wrong one. That was the image size. 78. Okay,
gotcha.
It is at least at the right height.
And we can get it really close.
Yeah. Okay, and you'll see that it's automatically. Remember, we named it earlier. This is my rollover.
Oh yeah,
palette.
It already automatically found the rollover.
Mm-hmm. It brought up the palette and told me it had the rollover in there, so you can see both versions of it.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring in the next image.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put it here, and it will be.
You click on source and change the empty reference over
This
to
will be
the menu.
History, I believe. That's right.
I think that's right.
Okay. And if you drag it, you notice it'll snap. So it'll snap for you.
So that's why we didn't put any gaps between our buttons earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get the next one. The next one is it testimonials? I believe it is.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Menu testimonials. I'm pretty sure it is.
We can always jump back over to Photoshop if we can't completely remember.
Let's move right along here. And the next one is...
products.
Is it news?
No, it's news. You're right. It's news. Yeah, whoops.
Okay, the next one is products.
Products.
Menu products. Okay, very good. So it brought in all the buttons and it brought in all the rollovers.
Too cool.
Yeah, so very, very quick, very cool. I'm going to select all these guys. I'm going to nudge them over just a little bit. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I actually made this one to bump to the edge, so I think we're okay. I'm just push them all the way against the edge there.
All right.
So I'm going to close our rollover palette because we don't need him anymore. And let's take a preview. Okay.
That is too cool.
There we have it. We have rollover buttons.
The menu bar is alive.
Go back to our layout mode. And let's go ahead and name these guys. You want to give each image you want to give an alternate text description in case, for whatever reason, say it never loads in the browser and and there's a problem, or
so would that be like a little tooltip that pops up on the site, or
exactly? If you roll over it, a tooltip will pop up.
Oh, too cool.
And the third thing is for people who have disabilities. Oh, and for search engines. Search engines can't read an image, of course, but they can read the text. And this is the text they'll read.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so try to remember to do that. Products, news, testimonials, history, contact. Okay. And
awesome.
Now, there's one more thing we want to do with these guys.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and link them up. Now, we don't have a destination for them yet. In other words, you click on products, and where's it going to go?
Right.
It's not going to go anywhere. But since we have a small site and we know exactly how many pages we're going to have, I'm going to go ahead and put in a link for it. So we'll have a products page, and we'll call it products.html.
And then
news.
I got you. News.html.
Right.
Testimonials and so forth. And so that's just what we'll name our subsequent pages.
Exactly. HTML. Okay.
Awesome.
So we have our buttons named and ready. I can just copy this guy. I'll hit Control C, get into my footer area, hit Control V,
Wow.
and there's our footer bar.
Yeah.
I'll hit Enter. Now, when I hit Enter, it created a paragraph, a new paragraph. In this case, I really don't want a paragraph because a paragraph gives us too much spacing above and below. So I'm going to delete that, undo that. If I hit Shift Enter, it inserts a line break.
Oh, cool.
And that's different according to the browser.
Okay.
And so, like, I'll type in our copyright information now. It'll be copyright 2005 Stones River Logging Inc. Okay, and I want that to align right. And there's one other thing. I want to give it a style. Now, we can create a style here. We can create an inline style or a block style. In this case, we'll go ahead and make it a block style because it's affecting the entire block.
Okay, so we're coming down to the CSS tab.
CSS tab, and click on block style. There's a special thing here that says New Generic. And so when I click on it, I get to make a new class.
Okay.
And we'll call this class footer. Oops.
Fodder.
Okay. Now we have our CSS editor up again, and we can enter text values to give this a special look.
Okay.
Now let's switch back to our Photoshop document and go back and take a look at what we put originally. I'm going to select that text, and the values here, I made it Verdana, 10 points, align right, it's black, and all caps.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to recreate that
Sure.
in GoLive. So I can do that by going to the Font Properties tab, choosing a color. In this case, it's going to be black. Choosing I think the weight was unchanged. But let's try bold. I want to see what it looks like. The decoration, there's no decoration. And we go here to the paragraph or the text properties, right? And the transformation will be uppercase. Okay, so it's nothing has happened. Oh, it did change to bold, didn't it?
Yeah, we changed it to bold earlier, but the uppercase didn't change.
The uppercase didn't change. Well, let's see. It's changing here in our example. Let's see what's going on. If I make that inline. Oh, I think this is a quirk in GoLive.
Okay.
Let me hit preview. Yeah.
So it's working, just not in our layout.
This is one of those things that you're going to have to test and just have some trust sometimes.
Now, did checking inline style there help at all?
No, that didn't really make a difference.
Okay.
I was just trying to test
bring
it.
something up.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to nudge it in a certain direction. This will work just fine.
I gotcha.
Okay, now the other thing we want to do, excuse me, let me bring up our CSS editor again.
I'm going to change the font over to Verdana.
Right. Now, we have our basic CSS file, which we talked about earlier. This is loaded on every single page. Let me open it up real quick. This is different from what we just did. Now, this footer property is an inline style.
Okay.
So, actually, what I should do is cut that.
Okay.
And paste it over here. And the reason is
pasting it into the basic.css.
Right. This is kind of a global style sheet.
Okay.
Every single page will load it. You can also add things that will go on just one page.
Okay.
So when we have home specific things or specific to whatever page we're on, we'll put them on the inline page.
I gotcha. But
and it'll be an actual part of that page HTML.
I see. But things that need to go kind of everywhere, such as the footer, need to be placed over here inside the basic CSS.
Okay, so I'm going to close this.
Okay.
And I'm going to change not the footer information at this point. I'm going to change the body information. Now, you know that everything is inside the body tag. All the HTML falls inside the body tag. So whatever you change on the body tag will affect the whole page. So if I, for example, make the font a certain font face, I'm going to go down here, and you can select new fonts.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to get a set called Verdana set. Now, if the user has Verdana, it will show Verdana. If they don't have Verdana, it'll default down to Arial. If they don't have Arial, it'll show Helvetica. So this is a nice little fallback in case, rather than just specifying one font, you get the whole family as a fallback.
I see. That's very cool.
Yeah, and you notice that
kind of like Plan A, B,
right,
C.
Exactly, and you notice it changed the font in the footer, even though I didn't specify in the footer, because the body.
Because that's everything.
Right, the body controls everything unless you override it specifically.
So would the footer override the body?
Yes, if we changed this to say a serif set, say it override
okay.
it.
I gotcha.
So let's remove that.
So the local settings kind of override the global
right.
settings.
The more specific you get, you override the more general.
That makes sense.
Okay. So I want to change the font size. I'm going to make a global size of 9 pixels.
Okay.
That'll be our general font size. Unless I want it to be bigger, which I think I do.
We had 10 over in Photoshop.
Yeah. Let's make that 10. Okay. So that does it. I'm going to save that. Let me preview it.
All right.
Now, of course, we have this little gap right here. We're going to fill that up later.
Right. That's going to our whatever page will fit in there.
Right. Okay. There's one more thing I want to change here. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. Let me go back. Well, let me turn off the table. The table comes automatic with these borders turned on.
Right.
So you turn those off manually.
Okay. And how do you do that?
You click on the table. You click on the table tab, and then here you'll notice there's a border of 1
pixel
and a cell space of 2.
I see.
So I'm going to make both of those things 0.
So now we're nice and snug.
And now we are nice and snug, super tight. If there's nothing in there, there will be nothing in there.
Gotcha.
Go back to our layout tab. Now, you notice there's a gap up here. I'm going to keep that gap up here, but if I wanted to change it, I could change that with either that body tag under here. I could change the padding. If I change this padding, it'll change the padding of the margins.
Okay, you were clicking really fast right there. Where did you just find that?
Let's go backwards.
Okay. So you opened up the CSS editor again.
CSS editor. Double click on the basic.
basic.css.
Right.
Okay.
And then clicked on body.
All right.
And if you add padding to it,
and which tab
or margins to it, this is in fact the margin and
padding. Oh, well, of course. There you go.
Now, if you click on this guy, it'll show you all the attributes for that particular item that you have selected.
All right.
So that's a good little overview to see. And of course, in the inspector, it shows you how it affects. How it's going to look. And also, there's also another couple things you can look at. If you click here, you can get a split source and a graphical view.
Right. So you can actually see the source of the CSS. It's very cool.
And you can turn that on and off. And this, if you click on the eyeball, it'll show you a larger version of what's in the inspector.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm going to close this guy. And there's one other thing I was noticing here. When, in the end, we have a space in this table. Let me see if I can get into it. And we preview it. We notice that we're going to have this vanish. Well, because everything's going to be inset, we're going to have this white gap. There's nothing there. So I want to change the background color.
Okay.
So I can do that once again in the CSS editor, basics, body, and we set I believe it's here. Okay, background.
Okay.
Color.
That's the far tab.
Right. And if I double click, I'll actually get just like in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Well, not just like, but very similar to Photoshop.
Close.
I'm just going to make it kind of a gray.
Okay.
To start with. And you notice everything turned gray back here. I'm going to save changes. Close. And there we have it. Now I can make this table, or even more specifically, this table cell.
The cell where the footer exists?
Well, the cell right here.
Oh, okay.
For our content.
I see.
I can make it white.
Ah.
And I'll double click it and make it white.
So how did you just do that? Under cell, you check the color box?
Right. Now, remember the way tables are constructed.
Mm-hmm.
We have the row, and then we have the cell.
Mm-hmm.
So the cell is the individual element. You can control different things on the row. You can make an entire row a certain color or height or alignment.
Okay.
And you can do the same thing for each individual cell.
Cool.
So I went ahead and did the cell because there's only one. Okay. Let me go back to our preview. I believe that's looking pretty much exactly what we wanted to do.
Our footer is turned gray now.
Yeah. Well, I didn't select him when I chose that, but I could do that too. That's just a preference, I guess.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So you just check the same box.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, that's looking exactly like what we had in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we've got a good start here, and I think that's where we want to start, and we'll start moving from here.
Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. We have constructed our header and footer areas that will be present on all of our pages, and from here we'll just move on and start piecing together the rest of our website.
Right.
So thanks a lot.